Esav soneh et Yaakov? Esav soneh et Yaakov is a law that the Torah says that it's a very complicated law, because on one end, HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, Et Yaakov ahavti ve'et Esav saneti. Et Esav, I hate him. Why I hate Esav? They were both the sons of the same father, Yitzchak. They were both the grandsons of Avraham Avinu. They're both sons of righteous people, both sons of righteous mothers and fathers. But one Hashem says, I love him, Yaakov. One he says, I hate him. Why? Yaakov followed my mitzvot. Hashem says, I love him. Esav, he knew my mitzvot, but he didn't follow them. That's why, if you learn in the Torah, you see that Esav, only his head was buried in Ma'arat HaMachpelah, but his body was thrown in the garbage. He wasn't buried in Ma'arat HaMachpelah. Why? Because his head knew all the mitzvot. If he was in this generation, he would be the smartest rabbi in the world. But he was a Rasha. Why? He knew all the mitzvot, but he didn't follow them. So from there we see that there's a law here that it doesn't really matter whether your father is a rabbi or he's not a rabbi, your grandfather is a rabbi or not a rabbi, it doesn't make a difference. Your lineage doesn't make a difference. 2, we see that Esav is somebody that Hashem allowed to exist even though he hated him. And the reason why is because some of the descendants of Esav became some of the most righteous people that ever lived. And the Gemara says that Hashem was very careful at how he dealt with Esav, because he did not want to destroy Rabbi Meir Baal HaNes. Because Rabbi Meir Baal HaNes was one of the 6 students that Rabbi Akiva used to restart the Torah world. He was a descendant of Esav. Another thing is, for all of the people in this generation and in previous generations, especially even during the times of today, but also in the times of the Bet HaMikdash, if you are a Jew, you have to understand you're part of the chosen people. Which means, the job of Edom, the job of Esav, is going to try to destroy you. It's not going to be to help you. So for all of the people that like to be politically correct and like to make all types of nice deals with the Goyim in order to make peace, Hashem says, Esav soneh li Yaakov. No matter what, eventually I will use Esav to destroy you, punish you, or simply to wake you up. No matter what, there is no such thing as peace between Esav and Yaakov. Never was and never will be. So during the time of the Bet HaMikdash, some people wanted to bring peace, so they figured maybe we befriend the Goyim. Eventually, this led to intermarriage, and eventually led to the Churban Bet HaMikdash. Same exact thing happened many times throughout history, including World War II, and the same thing is happening right now. Same thing is happening right now, where a lot of religious Jews are doing all types of deals and agreements with the Goyim in order to have unity, if you will. If you're going to simply do business, meaning for money purpose, monetary purposes, no problem doing business with the Goyim, with the exception of 3 days before their holidays. You're not allowed to do business with Goyim 3 days before their holidays, which is another halacha. And the reason why is because if you do business with them 3 days before their holiday, they can use the money that you give them for their idolatry. Gemara Masechet Avodah Zarah. Go into a little more details. So that's another aspect of Shulchan Aruch that applies as far as how you're not allowed to do business with the Goyim just on any day. But if you want to do business, you want to sell them something, you want to buy something, there's no problem. There's no problem buying and selling from them, except with the exception of those days. But if you're going to do something when it comes to spirituality, then you have a problem. Why? According to the Torah, if somebody was chasing a Jew, trying to kill him, and he has an option. One option is to hide inside a church. Not go pray in a church. Not go pray to Yoshke. Just hide inside the church. Or die. He has to die. He has to die. Instead of hide inside a church. Needless to say, No Jew is ever allowed to attend a church, even if your best friend is getting married to his love of his life. Doesn't make a difference. Even if it's some president marrying another president, doesn't make a difference. A Jew is never allowed to even attend a church. Why? It's a place of idolatry. So this, again, also halachot of idolatry have a lot to do with Esav sonei Yaakov. Last but not least is also always to remember that no matter what, a person needs to understand that Hashem runs the world. Anytime a Jew is doing good things, Hashem is going to use Esav. Hashem is going to use Esav in order to elevate the Jew even higher. He's going to use the Esav to build the world and develop the world and create a lot of good things for the world for the benefit of the Jew. Ashgacha pratit. To such an extent that Hashem will give some sheikh billions of dollars in order to build some huge tower, the Midrash says, in the middle of the desert for no actual economical reason. Why? Because maybe 400 years later, Hashem is going to have one of his tzaddikim, one of his Jews, pass in that desert, and he's going to get hot, so he wants to use maybe this, a little bit of shadow, a little bit of tent. So he can use that $1 billion building, just for that, so he doesn't get so hot. Meaning he's going to give the non-Jews, he's going to give the Gentile billions of dollars just to build a building that will be used one time by a Jew, for the Jew's benefit. So when the Jew is righteous, Hashem will use the Edom, he's going to use Esav and Ishmael in order to elevate the Jew even higher. When the Jew is wicked, then Hashem uses Esav and also Ishmael as a tool to hit the Jew. That's why throughout all of history, every single time the Jews were wicked for an extended period of time, Hashem used the Goyim time and time again in order to hurt us. Whether it's the Bet HaMikdash, the first one, getting destroyed with millions and millions of people, the second one, or the pogroms, the Inquisition, Spanish Inquisitions, World War II, and so on and so forth. So there are different ways that you could apply this halacha and across the entire Torah. I don't know exactly which specific ways, corners you're looking for, but I think in the last few minutes I mentioned at least a half a dozen halachot that you could apply it to.